And so we've been talking about what causes Earth's climate. And so we've talked about the structure of the Earth's atmosphere. We've talked about what heats the Earth's atmosphere. And we've talked about how clouds form. Well, now we want to throw into the mix atmospheric pressure. So what do we mean by pressure in the first place? So in a previous lesson, we learned that pressure was equal to a force being applied to an area. All right, so what would be the force? Okay, that would be the weight of all of the oxygen and nitrogen molecules that are on top of us. So every one of those little oxygen and nitrogen molecules has a certain amount of mass. And then gravity pulls on mass and it causes the force of gravity. So we call that the weight. So your weight is going to be your mass multiplied by the gravity of the Earth. And that causes your weight. That's what's pulling you down. So in this case, imagine that you have about 10,000 kilometers of oxygen and nitrogen on top of you, or that would be about 6,200 miles of air on top of you. So just like when you get into a swimming pool, you can feel the pressure of the water acting on you. Well, that's because of the water that's on top of you pushing down, so that the amount of air on top of you, the weight, the force of gravity of that air pushing down on you is going to cause a pressure. So we're going to call that atmospheric pressure. And you can see from that diagram there that most of Earth's atmospheric pressure is very, very close to the surface of the Earth. And then as you go up into the air, you have less and less air molecules, which means that the pressure kind of peters off until finally you're in outer space where there is no pressure. Okay, what are some things that pressure can do? Well, pressure is going to be intimately related to cloud formation. So if the air can rise, then you can have clouds. Because we said, how do you make a cloud? You have to start with warm, moist air, and then it goes up until it cools off. So as long as there is very little pressure pushing down, then that allows stuff to go up. So we're going to call this a low pressure system. On the other hand, if the pressure is pushing down, it kind of pushes the clouds out of the way. So with a high pressure system, you do not tend to have clouds, but with low pressure systems, you do. So you might want to check this out. So you can get on the internet and find out what the current pressure is and find out if the pressure is high or low, and then go outside and look at the sky. And you'll notice that if you're under a low pressure system, you should have clouds in the sky, and if you're under a high pressure system, you should not have any clouds in the sky. Okay, another thing that pressure can do is it causes the winds. So that the winds are always going to blow from high pressure to low pressure. And then another thing that you can see about that picture is how the winds swirl around the high and the low pressure systems. I wouldn't worry about that, but you should know that pressure systems cause winds, and you can also know that pressure systems can cause clouds to form or clouds not to form. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Coriolis force.